Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to be looking at the two ways of playing PA. First off, we're going to be following Kuman. So you're going to be learning how to play Battle-Free PA, the farming style. And then we're also going to be taking a look at Miracle's Phantom Assassin, where he rushes a Desolator and plays high tempo. Currently think this hero is... it's alright. It's fine, and I think it will be for a while. It's basically always a good low MMR hero, as you don't get punished too hard in the laning stage, which is typically its biggest weakness. So yeah, we're going to be learning a ton about Phantom Assassin in this video so that you can master it, play it properly, and adjust, your playstyle and itemization for every single match. So yeah, if you're excited for this PA content and you want to see more carry content in the future, like that's your main role, if carry is your main role, click the like button to help out your boy Speed, as well as let me know that you want to see more carry content. And on top of the content you're going to be seeing today, I recently talked about Necro. I played a Necro game where live, I talked about all of my thoughts and really everything that came to mind. It was a very funny match as they basically gave up early on. But what I discussed was like how to crush the early game, how to really dominate your laning stage and not just go even. Because a lot of people think they're winning. They think they're doing okay, but at the end of the day, they're not really doing that well. So if you're interested in seeing that video, click the link down below to the gameleap website. It's over there. I've also made some other videos such as a live Legion game. I've even talked about Tidehunter recently, updating his course. We even have an updated Legion course now. And so there's so many things to check out on the gameleap website. Super cheap. A lot of time on our hands, I'm sure right now because of the quarantine that I am also going through. Hopefully I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. Alright, so we're going to start off with the Battle Fury match, and guys, this one is incredible. I love this gameplay so much from Kuman. He's one of the top tier carry players right now, if you don't know who he is. So, I mean, if you're looking for someone to learn from, this is definitely one of the people you should be looking out for. But in this game, you're going to notice he goes to the jungle very early. So there's a couple things that happen. He's against a Void Spirit, who is doing okay, right? Not a great PA matchup because of the Resonant Pulse and the Q, obviously. And the PL TP's top lane to sort of contest the PA as well. And because of this, what Kuman does is he actually completely avoids the confrontation, and he actually ends up going mid. Now, this is something that I don't generally recommend you do in your pubs. You typically want to look for a lane to farm, because in this case, he actually ends up getting contested by the Lycan to some extent, and he actually takes the mid tower. Now, moving on from this mid tower is where things really start to spice up, because you're going to notice that he has a Desolator queued up, right? So he's considering his options in his item build right now. And that's the thing about these pros, they very rarely hop into a match and are 100% certain of what they're going. Now, it's definitely possible, but they're usually going to consider options, especially depending on how the tempo of the game is going. And if we look at how this game is going, it's quite even, right? That's the main thing we notice. It's generally even, a 1k lead, right? Well, actually slightly above a 1k lead currently for the Dire, and he's doing a lot of jungling, right? He got an Iron Talon, which is probably the best jungle item you could get on PA in the early game. 15 attack speed, 2 armor, and the ability to just cut Ancients in half is bonkers. But right, this game is going pretty static, and he's more focused on farming mid and the tri-camp than anything, right? That's exactly what he's doing, using the Iron Talon, Blur, and the mid lane to get farmed. And the only fight that he's going to actually show up to are dives, right? Whenever you're playing a defensive farming carry, I actually highly recommend you look to show up to these type of fights where they're going past your tower. Other than that, you're basically dodging as much as you can on PA until you at least hit a one item timing. Also, for the most part, it's actually very important to understand that he's playing mid lane because it's a very safe area to play. It's easy for your teammates to react, you're always close to the ancient camps, and when you're in this tri-camp, you have the option to go mid or bottom, which is great, right? Because if the enemy team is playing bottom, you go farm mid. If the enemy team is playing mid, you go farm bottom. It's pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of people don't look at it that way. Now, funny enough, he actually was pretty close to finishing the Deso, but if you guys know about the recent Battle Fury change, it now requires a Mithril Hammer to actually, buy it, and literally, as he's mid-buying the Deso, he changes to the Battle Fury. And the reason for this is that I believe he realizes that this game is not going to end anytime soon. Now, the enemy team does have a pushing lineup, however, they have a Timber, they have a Puck, so it's very unlikely that the game ends, right? Just think about it. I mean, Puck is going to cut the waves. They don't have any hero that's great against Timber besides OD, but I don't think the OD's having a great game. As you can see, he's not, and Timber was having a decent game. And because of this, right, the match is going to last, right? Timber and Puck, as well as not the best push against these heroes, I mean, there is a Lycan, obviously, means that the game is going to stall out. And because of that, he's playing a dodge-oriented farming style, right? Pushing in the bottom lane, back to the jungle camp using his Iron Talon and Blur to farm. Pretty standard stuff there. And now after a few more rounds of the bottom lane and ancient camp, which he literally, no joke, does not stop farming. It doesn't get more complex. He just pushes in the lane up until about here. right, in line with the outpost. He's not willing to go past there because then you're in gank territory, right? But he pushes in the lane, goes back, farms his camp, and just lets his team do the fighting, right? He's letting his team do the fighting. He's not worried about, getting active. He's not doing anything like that. And you're going to see when he hits his Battle Fury, he's going to use the blur to push out the wave, then move on to a bit of a deeper Ancient Camp. Does look for a kill on PL that doesn't end up happening right away, at least. Does eventually get him, right? As I said, once you get that one item timing, you're going to look for kills, but immediately back to farming, and this is where things get spicy. Literally, this is my favorite thing to watch in Dota. I mean, I love this so much, right? So he kills one camp, then the next, and basically here's the time lapse, right? Camp, wave, looks for the Ancient Camp, wasn't there, lets it respawn, right? Paying attention to the clock when farming is always important. Back to the wave, off to the Ancient Camp, big camp, medium camp, lets it respawn, another medium camp, another Ancient Camp, and yeah, I just love this playstyle so much. I frankly, if I had to pick one that is easier to play for pubs, it is by far this Battle Fury playstyle, where you just focus on chilling in your tri-camp. Now, if you're on Radiant, you may have to switch it up a little bit, because you do want to take Ancients. However, you can basically try to play the other side of the map and just look for Ancients regardless. Like, when you have Battle Fury or you get an Iron Talent, you want to take Ancients in this current patch. I mean, there's no way around that. And now at the 20-minute mark, he has 1,000 gold. If we look at his net worth, he has 11,000 net worth in 20 minutes. And that's mainly because his farming patterns have been perfect and his team has been making a lot of space for him. However, that's no excuse not to get good timings. Guys, like, in your pubs, you should always get good timings. And now let's see how he plays his first fight of the game, right? So he finally has his Deso, and this basically means you can look to get active. First things first, he's looking for someone to get stunned, because that's what you want to do as PA. So he daggers the OD, doesn't overcommit, right? Has the Imp Claw plus dagger combo, which is pretty strong, but isn't overcommitting, right? He's making sure he waits on the outside. Do not jump the first person you see as PA. Now, when he sees the Lycan here and the OD isolated, as well as a stunned Void Spirit, he gets the jump in synergy, right? Gets the jump in synergy with the Ogre Magi stun and secures the kill. Then moving on to the next target, obviously going to find the OD, and goes immediately back to farming into a tower, right onto the wave. And this is exactly what you want to do. If you can play this smooth of Dota, you're going to gain MMR. Like, I hope you guys notice how smooth everything is. He never stops farming, and when he wants to fight, it's very quick, it's very smooth, it's calculated, and, right, literally as the fight ends, immediately back to the camps, back to the tri-camp, almost a 23-minute BKB we're going to be seeing. After a 16-minute Battle Fury, he's gained another 6k net worth. And if you can't do this in your pubs, or like come close to this, even 3/4 of this, it's gonna be hard for you to gain MMR. Like, in my opinion, you don't deserve to gain the MMR. Now, this game ends up lasting for around another 20 minutes. However, I'm gonna show you one more main fight and then move on to the next game. So as you see with this BKB timing, this is where he is really confident to Roche. It makes a lot of sense, right? If you have BKB and Aegis, you're basically unstoppable. And that's exactly what happens, right? Gets his Aegis, jumps on the Lycan, BKB to make sure he doesn't get lifted or astraled, and he gets a double kill. And really, this is the power of hitting item timings, and honestly guys, if I was looking to pick one of you, let's say I was looking for a gameleap subscriber to pick to play on my team, I would want someone that plays like this reliably over the other playstyle. But now, let's get into the Miracle gameplay so you can at least understand it and why it can be very viable. Alright, here we are in the Miracle gameplay, and what you're going to notice is that there's a lot of similarities actually between him and the Kuman. At least, well, I don't know why I said the Kuman. Him and Kuman. And the funny thing is, well, yeah, they're both on Dire, but you're going to notice a lot of the same trends, right? So he has this double Wraithband wand early game, right? No boots, just going full early game stats. Because if you don't do this on PA, you're super squishy and easy to burst. Any good players will literally ruin your game. You won't get farm. I don't think people understand this. Like, people tell me about their 2K, 3K matches, and PA's a great laner because, you know, she does a lot of damage. I'm like, yes, but anyone who's played the game for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours is going to destroy you if they have nukes, right? But regardless, getting back into it, right? He's playing a fighting playstyle. Not that Kuma didn't do this with the Battle Fury, right? It's not like the early game's too much different, but this is an option you can make. However, what I will say is if you do this in your pubs and you don't have 4 heroes collapsing properly and you're not the last one going in, right? You notice if he's not frontlining, he's going in like 3rd or 4th, you're gonna die. So 9 times out of 10, if you have an open lane, just stay in the open lane. That is a far better option than trying to be like Miracle and probably probably throwing your match. Moving on from there, we're going to see the same triangle patterns. Do realize that just because you're playing a fighting playstyle doesn't mean you don't farm for the early game. You generally need to hit your item timings and then fight as PA. I think people get this idea wrong where they're like, oh, I'm playing farming, so I'm literally going to farm for 25 minutes, or I'm playing fighting, so I'm going to fight the entire game. You typically want a balance no matter what you're doing, right? You want some sort of a balance that's based around timings. So, oh, he's not hitting his timings, he's going to try to jungle. Unfortunately, Liquid is a top tier team, so he gets ganked in the triangle. Will that happen in your pubs? Basically never. One thing I do want to mention that I noticed a little bit late into this replay, I actually saw that he's actually maxing out the Phantom Strike, which gets it all the way down to a 5-second cooldown. And I really like this if you do plan to brawl with early stats. The reason is that the dagger scale's okay, but for the most part, having that extra 75 attack speed if you max it out and a 5-second cooldown really allows you to engage and disengage properly. So overall, I think this is a great adjustment to make if you do plan on brawling in the early game, like he obviously is, right? Even using the blur here to consider setting up onto the lone druid mid. I mean, how funny is this, guys? Do you want to do this in your pubs? Once again, this is a big PSA. Be careful. Be careful. If you do not have your teammates to synergize, this type of play can lose you the match. It really, really can. Also, do notice that once they fail the gank onto the lone druid, instantly back to killing the nearby camp. Right, if he doesn't kill the nearby camp, his game is over. Like, he's not going to get any farm. On top of that, his team is fighting top, and because the fight will most likely end fast, he goes bottom. He understands that TPing to a dive like this, right, is most likely going to end up in him just being stuck top with no TP. Then he's going to get run down by 3 heroes because they know he has no TP. So instead, he just goes bottom to farm. Once again, guys, remember, just because you want to fight and you're going Deso doesn't mean you fight the entire game. So yeah, using the temporary space that his team gives him, which will actually often happen in your pubs because people love to fight, he's able to finally get closer to his Deso. And what you're going to notice is that this item is pretty cheap. Right? If you don't buy a Battle Fury, you can get a Deso around 15 minutes, especially if you're having a very good game. Now, he's obviously going to get it a little bit later because he has 2 deaths and has been fighting a lot, which generally isn't the best for your net worth. But overall, in your pubs, guys, if you can aim for a 15 to 16 minute Desolator, you're going to be able to fight very well. On top of that here, he's always being and ready to be active. I want to look at his team comp though, guys, and this is the main thing that I tried to mention in the last game as well. Look at the team comps. What did we notice? We noticed that Nigma has a very high tempo team. Now, of course, that could mean that they're playing for Protect 1 and they just want Miracle to farm. I think that's an option. However, how he sees it is that they're going to be able to run over. They're going to be able to run them over. They're going to be able to take a Roshan extremely early. They have the tag team, the Death Pact armor reduction, Wraith King lifesteal, including Lasso, which is obviously a great ability for Roshan fights. And the enemy team can't really deal with the high tempo that well, especially if they fall behind, right? So if the Reiki doesn't have the Fusel, or the Lone Druid is a bit behind, or let's say the Brewmaster doesn't have ulti, this tempo is going to ruin Liquid. And now, once again, getting back into target priority, I think this is very important for people to see, but as you're going to notice here, he wanted to probably go for that Grimstroke, did end up dying, so he sees a Riki on the side, and this is, once again, always what you're looking for. People on the side, then he kites out because PA cannot man up to Brewmaster. That matchup does not work. In fact, he was even hesitant to go on the Brewmaster, basically completely ignoring him. Did you guys see that? I'm going to go back to play that one more time because that's crucial. This is a matchup thing, right? So he's literally not going on Brew just because of how tanky this guy is. If they go on him, he's going to split and he's going to Cinder Brew them and he's going to die. So that decision making is key. And because he didn't make that mistake, he's able to go back and find the Rubik, who is a prime target for the Phantom Assassin. And as the fight continues, things actually look pretty bad, but there's a couple things to note. Because he has Wraith Bands and because he has a wand and he goes to Strength Treads, he's able to live. And this is why if you plan on going a build like this and you don't buy these type of items, you're going to die, right? Because of this and his 225 health talent, right, these items and his health talent, he's able to brawl. And now, as we talked a little bit earlier, instantly into the Roshan pit, and this is them synergizing their team comp well, right? So in your pubs, if you feel like your team can't do this, or overall, if like you're at the level where people can't synergize to this level, go the farming build. However, if you know that your team can play this style, or you feel like you're running over the lane and you can continue to beat the enemy team because you have good matchups, you can go this Deso and play high tempo. And now with the Deso, we're going to see him absolutely ruin this Lone Druid's life, literally with the blur, right? Getting into range, 4-shots him. 4-shots the enemy core, and that is the power of this build, right? Level 12 with the 325% crit, even Clarity's gonna want to sustain his mana. He's gonna be playing super high tempo, even queued up a Vlads to help with his mana. And now to end off the video, I just want to mention that, hey, even though you get your Deso when you go this build, do look for the open lane from time to time. You're going to notice that his team was shifting to bottom anyway, so it's a good option for him to just go back and TP. And yeah, because of this, he's able to get a little bit of extra farm, and he's still in fighting distance with his team. So whenever you're TPing around the map and you want to play high tempo, make sure you don't TP to a place where your team can't connect, and they'll get abandoned. And now, because of some good target priority, he's going to go on the Lone Druid. This is a naturally favorable matchup for PA, especially if you know the Savage Roar has been committed, or you have Aegis. So yep, of course, he's going to jump on the Lone Druid. Now, there are better targets, such as the Rubik as well, but bursting a Lone Druid that is already low is of course going to be your #1 priority. As the Aegis goes down, he swaps his Wraithband back into his inventory. It's really important to do that. And now goes on the Rubik, right? Always killing the people he can deal with first. He is not once considered hitting Brewmaster, and that is key here. And of course, because of his high stats, he's able to disengage and live. And that, at the end of the day, is why these item builds and playstyles are so important. Because if you don't play like you have the items that you have, it's GG. If you don't farm when you're buying Battle Fury, it's GG. If you buy a Deso and you do nothing with it, you're probably not going to win. But thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this style of video where I compare the two different types of playstyles of a hero, like and subscribe so that I know you want to see more of it in the future. And thanks again for watching. Peace, baby. And hey guys, remember, before you end this video, in the link down below, I've been playing a lot of live games where I talk about my thoughts in real time in the middle of a Dota match. So if you want to get in the head of a pro player, click the link down below to the gameleap website. Super cheap right now, right? And I'm doing this a ton. We all have time on our hands. I have time to make content. You guys probably have time to enjoy and learn Dota, get better at the game. So yeah, if that combo works for you, click the link down below and I'll see you there.